The Sandy and Toddcast is a Mind Garden Media podcast in association with
Screw You, Todd
Productions.
Broadcasting from two very different yet magical places not found on any map. Get ready to discuss the strange, weird, ghostly, crazy, spooky, and odd things that take place around us each and every day. All while having a little bit of fun. This is the Sandy and Toddcast.
What's new in your world? Fill us in before we get going on stuff.
Just working at my mundane job, which is absolutely
mundane.
Sometimes mind-numbing is more like it. Doing lots of readings. I've been doing like at parties. I was actually a friend of mine actually put me in their book. So I've done a lot of work around the St. Louis area, like dealing with real bad hauntings and stuff like that. And he included that in his book, some of my magical misadventures.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I see you all the time posting about doing readings and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're everywhere.
It's the good kind of busy. It's definitely the good kind of busy.
Without a doubt.
So that's what really it's all been going on. Been getting moved in with my other half. So that's always fun. So I've been moving, doing readings, and doing a full-time job. So it's kind of exhausting.
Yeah, I'll say. And readings can be obviously very draining.
Yes. If you do so many readings so often, I get what's called the shaman sickness. It's when I start feeling like nauseated and really drained. And there's other readers out there, I'm sure, who can vouch for me. Whether you read tarot or do the pendulum or throw bones or something of that nature, it's very, very draining on your energy. And it's kind of like working out a muscle. Yeah,
it really is. The more you develop it, the more it takes away from you sometimes.
Mm-hmm. It's like you have to get enough sleep, and also make sure you're eating correctly, because junk in, junk out is what I always say.
Right. So magic.
Uh-huh. Boy, we're just diving right in, aren't we, Sandy?
Let's do it. I'm excited about this. I've been waiting for this.
So magic, my favorite definition of the term magic is the way nature flows that science has not yet understood or will probably never understand. Mm-hmm. I believe in science and things like that, but my favorite definition is the way nature is magic is a way nature flows that science does not understand, and we will probably never understand. Mm-hmm. That's the definition of magic. It's working with the world around you and the energies it produces.
Now, just to remind us, because we've talked to you about some of this stuff in the past, but how did you get involved? What interested you about it? Why do you do magic?
I got really interested in it because we all grew up watching those Disney movies with Maleficent and the Evil Queen from Sleeping Beauty and things like that. And I always kind of pulled for the magic users. You're like, why do they got to die?
I know, right?
Why do they have to be bad? And it sort of took off whenever I was a kid, but then I really got into it after I left seminary at 25, whenever I came out. And I thought that if organized religion isn't working out with me, I want a path that is going to teach personal responsibility and give me the ability to have a little more say in what happens with me, you know? But at the same time, like I said just a second ago, it also teaches you personal responsibility. It teaches you that you're responsible for the world that you're creating around you.
You mentioned seminary again, and I know we talked about it the last time we had you as a guest. Do you feel people always say they were called to serve or they were called to do that? Did you feel like you were called to go to seminary?
I did. I felt like I was called to sort of serve my community and just serve the human race in general from a spiritual aspect. And for a while, it took the shape of me going to seminary, or what I perceived, because that's the only option that seems quote unquote legit to most people, is organized religion. But you don't have to be. If you go to a church or a mosque or anything or a synagogue, and that's how you church, and that's what feeds your soul, then that's awesome. Do it. Just do it to the best of your ability, and do it to make the world around you a richer, better place. That's what I say.
Yeah, I've always subscribed to the idea that it doesn't matter what religion, non-religion, it's more about having faith in what you believe and having that structure in your life and something to believe in and something to keep moving you forward. So regardless of what religion, non-religion, whatever belief you have, I'm very spiritual. I feel like it's so important to have something like that in your life.
And it is very important, because you can also not necessarily have spirituality and want to make the world a better place. You don't have to believe in a higher power.
Right.
It's that religion is the lens through which you choose to view the world.
Right.
And
Agreed.
if you choose not to practice religion or have spirituality or believe in a higher power, that's awesome. It's just that how are you affecting the world right now? You know?
Right.
So go ahead, Todd. Sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, so for most people, they learn about their practice, their religion, their belief system by going to a building once a week and sitting, like in a classroom and learning and reading and all that kind of stuff. For folks who want to learn magic or get into Wicca, things like that, it's a little bit different. So how did you start your learning process when you kind of turned to magic and brought that into your life?
The very first thing that started me out on my path to magic is the very first book I picked up about magic was, I think it was Wicca for the Solitary Practitioner by Scott Cunningham. And after I read that book from cover to cover, I started seeking out kindred souls, which I'm very grateful that I live in the age of the internet, because I started reaching out on message boards and Facebook and asking questions and building my own community of people who could mentor me and sharpen my abilities and help me find my niche.
Right.
Whenever it comes to doing like magic, because I believe it's what me and my partner call is we call it our majors, kind of like college degrees. Kind of like I say, my major is divination with and such and such.
Right.
But it definitely helps to have a community, and it also helps that you are able to have hands-on approach, and they allowed me to ask questions. And to me, that's very important. If I can't ask questions, then there's something fishy going on.
Right.
To me, the path of magic is to get you away from just blind faith. If you can't question it, then I will question the authenticity of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You mentioned, which was kind of interesting, how the internet allowed you to pursue this. And I think back because obviously I'm before the age of the internet, and my friend and Lisa Hale, same thing. And she practiced Wicca for a long time. And I always think back to like when she started doing it, or would tell me that she would start doing it. You got to be on the lookout for people that seemed like they might be into it to try and make that connection. And then, there were all these meetings going on and stuff like that nobody else knew about. It was really tough to kind of find a group of people to have that communication with. And I also want to mention that you mentioned Scott Cunningham as the author of that book. When I asked that question, I was wondering if it was going to be one of his books.
Yes, Scott Cunningham is legendary in witchcraft and Wicca circles. He produced some of the most concise, in my opinion, some of the most concise books on the craft and on herb magic and mineral magic and things like that. I also read a book by Amber Kay called True Magic, which is great which is a lovely primer for people who want to get into working with energy and working with energies of rocks and herbs and the world around them. It's a very, very nice footstep into the world of magic.
And what was that title again? Because we've had a question about it. What's that title on the Scott Cunningham book?
Wicca for the Solitary Practitioner. I'm trying to think if I have it here, because I'm like sitting right next to my library, but I'm not in the mood to go through all the hundreds of books to try to find it. Because it's because we'd be here for hours if I had to go through all the books.
All right, so for like layman's terms, magic. How do you what's the terminology there? What's the definition of magic?
To me, the layman's term for magic is being able to pull the strings, if you will, of your environment and the energy of those things around you to produce a desired outcome. That's what it is. And you get what you put out. If you send out something for money, you got to be really specific, because if you say, hey, I need more money, and then work gives you like 60 hours a week, you aren't specific about how you wanted to make that money. Right. It's not going to spontaneously like generate wealth in your life. It's going to it's going to give you, in my opinion, it gives you opportunities to make money and also to network, which in turn would lead to money. So in layman's terms, magic is working with, like I said, working with the world around you and various energies and entities to get a desired outcome.
And how long have you been practicing magic?
I have been practicing magic for about 14 years.
Wow.
Do you have to have specific spells for certain things, or is your intention enough to kind of get the ball rolling? How does that work?
In my opinion, sometimes we don't have what we need on the spot whenever we do need to have it, whenever we need to do a spell or need to work with magic. And the best thing that you can have whenever you're doing magic is crystal clear intention, because it's tough to give the energy a direction whenever your thoughts are muddied. And that's why whenever I'm telling somebody who wants to practice magic, it's always good to have a good meditation practice as well. A calm mind is very important whenever you're trying to manifest something.
I do a bit of manifesting. Do you have a kind of a regiment that you go through for manifesting? I mean, do you do it daily? Are there ones that you do on certain days of the week? Blah, blah, blah. Like, how do you prepare yourself for that?
I have a daily meditation practice that I usually do that has a lot to do with my tradition. And whenever I want to manifest something, it also helps to have a journal too. I write it down. You write the vision down so that way that you won't forget it. And if I feel like I need to do a ritual with the candles and herbs and stuff like that, then I do it. I follow my discernment and I follow what spirit tells me. But at the same time, you've also got a crystal clear intention can also be a bad thing too, because if you're just visualizing something terrible happening, then you're probably manifesting something terrible happening.
It's kind of interesting too, because I've had you and other people say when you manifest, you need to be very specific about what you're manifesting. And then I've had people tell me, no, manifest what you want the outcome to be and put it out there and let the universe kind of decipher how that's going to turn out. And so I'm sitting here going, I don't know what to do now, So I kind of sit here going,
sometimes it can be like that. Sometimes whenever we need something really bad, we don't know how we're going to get it. You just have to have faith in yourself and faith to whatever energy you're working with that it's going to happen. Like you don't know the whole process, and you got to say like, God, it kind of reminds me of like a prayer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how
it is similar,
but you really, really need it to happen.
See, going back to manifesting, or meditation. Mm-hmm. A lot of people who have not meditated or don't know much about meditation, how it works, what you do, is there a set time that you need to meditate, or is it all about what feels good for you?
What feels good for you. Also, a thing about magic, and there's not, in my opinion, there is not a dogmatic approach to it. Mm-hmm. Because I got away from organized religion because me and dogma did not get along.
Yeah.
There's not a dogmatic way to do magic. There's not a dogmatic way to be a witch. There's not a dogmatic way, because different cultures have different traditions to access this ability to manifest and to be able to work with this energy and work with the spirits. There is no correct way to do magic. There is no right tradition. And whenever you start saying your tradition is the right tradition, congratulations, you're moving towards dogmatic thought, and you're making others feel insufficient in doing the same thing, and it's just not very nice.
Right.
I know Sandy brought that question up, and I think that question was kind of coming from her directly because, I know that like when it comes to manifesting, she'll say, well, meditation. Yeah. Well, how do you meditate? How do you meditate? What happens? What's supposed to happen? And I don't have that answer. I meditate in my own way, in my own time, in what feels good to me. I have different experiences in my meditation than say my sister. My sister, has crazy meditations, and I'm just sitting there relaxing, kind of floating through what's going on when I'm meditating. So I think, again, in that case, it's different for every individual.
And I've been doing it sort of like you do. He sent me this really great music that I can use. And I've been meditating more and kind of feeling my way through it to kind of figure it out. I did a manifestation the first time about a week or so ago.
How did that turn out for you?
Really well, because guess what? Everything that I had hoped for the next day came true.
Yeah, we actually worked together on that.
We did it together at pretty much the same time. And the next day, everything we had hoped for, we had thrown out into the universe. It actually came true. So that was great.
And there's really no bad way to meditate, but the way I was taught to start meditating was something that's called like a candle meditation. This is for people who are just trying to get their feet wet and just trying to dabble. It's like you just take a simple taper candle and you just focus on the flame. Nothing matters. If thoughts float into your head, let them float in, but let them float out just as easy. Because all that matters in that moment is just the flame. Do it for 5 minutes, just starting out. You don't have to sit there and do like 30-minute meditations. Sometimes the best meditation is just being a pebble in the stream.
I heard one time too, breathing techniques.
Yep.
Because when you concentrate on your breathing and all you think about is your breathing in and out, it's true because I do it a lot. There's nothing else in your mind. Your mind is completely concentrating on your own breathing at the time. And it's pretty fascinating how if you are concentrating on one particular thing, everything else sort of calms and nothing negative is in there. It's all very you're kind of floating when it happens.
And it's kind of like, breath work is also very important. Personally, I do something it's like called the 7-fold breath. It's you breathe in for 7 seconds. If you're able, hold for 7 seconds, and then you breathe out for 7 seconds. I believe some people refer to it as the little death breath. I know, right? And really, I find that also really, really helps with focus and calming the mind as well. So it's in for 7, holding for 7, and then you breathe out for 7.
I have to try that. I'm going to try that.
Do it right now. Go for it.
No, I'm not going to do it right now.
I'll count for you. You ready?
No. He also tried to get me to sing Happy Birthday like Marilyn Monroe before you were here. So he ended up doing it, though, which was even better.
Yeah, you missed out on that. That was pretty good. So let's talk about like simple magic and complex magic. Do you do magic for everything? Are there certain things you do magic for?
If I feel the need, like a rise for magic, like if I feel led to do something like a ritual or a spell for magic, I prefer to use like herbs and candles and stuff that sort of syncretize to the intentions. Because there are certain plants that are for money drawing in some traditions. There are plants for love. There are plants for protection. There are stones for love. There are stones for money. There are stones for protection. And it just goes on and on and on and on. And those things, those elements, your intention is most important, but those elements that you add can actually boost your intention a little bit. They sort of lend their energy to that particular thing. And magic can be as complex as a ceremonial magic or Enochian magic, where you work with like the energy of angels and stuff. To me, that magic is it's gorgeous, and a lot of the ritual involved with it is beautiful, but it's intimidating to me.
I can imagine. I can see that.
So, do you do like classes, like actual classes on magic, on meditation, all that kind of stuff?
I teach
lectures.
The classes that I teach are over. I do one that's over like spiritual baths. I go over their history, and then I like to help people be able to make their own spiritual baths, like from herbs and minerals and stuff. And it's kind of like this, like my history of spiritual baths. It's kind of like one of the like baptism is a version of a spiritual bath. And what I think is because also the baptism came from the rite of mikvah, which is another spiritual bath that you see in Judaism and in Jewish culture, which I believe they actually picked up in the ritual bathing they would do for pharaohs in ancient Egypt, because the Jews were in exile in Egypt for a long time, and they picked that up and brought it back. So kind of directly, baptism came from Egypt. And then they would use that out of the belief that it would wash away all the impurities, and it's sort of like being reborn out of the water.
Wow.
So when I came to you and I said, I need protection, I need to be cleansed of this energy that has attached itself. I don't remember. I do know there were some salts and herbs with the candles, but do you remember what might have been in those little bags you sent along?
I know I know I put some Epsom salt in there, but I also put a very pungent cooking herb called asafoetida. It's very, very, it tends to herbs that are very, very strong smelling like that are very, very good at chasing off and protecting. And it's kind of like whenever you sage an apartment, the sage smells kind of like a particular certain sundry and dried item. And it smells very strong, and the strong smell drives away negative energy.
I'll tell you what, I got to tell you a quick story. So my mom had passed away, and my sisters and I were all just having tons of activity in our house, just tons of stuff. And my sister Vicky was not ready for that. We had not grown up with that kind of stuff. She could not deal with it. And so she decided she was going to burn sage. Well, she didn't just burn sage. She burned some sage. And her house, I mean, if you open the windows and the doors, the smoke was rolling out, and it stunk in there for a while. And she was like, how do I get this smell out of my house now? Yeah, sage can be that way. You can use it very sparingly in certain situations. You don't have to have the smoke rolling out of your house. I don't remember if I was there for that or not. Maybe I was.
I have a question. So Todd, once you did everything that Zeke told you to do, when did you start to feel differently?
Almost immediately.
Yeah.
It was that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And I almost felt like I almost started to feel like, because I had gotten the stuff, but there was a full moon coming or something like that. And that was very important in the spells. Mm-hmm. And so I had to time it correctly. And for me, I needed to be in the right mindset. So I think I waited a couple of days before I did it. But once the stuff arrived, things started to change. Like whatever was hanging on, kind of knew it was on its way out. Mm-hmm. And one of the last things I had to do, and I don't remember everything, but there was something with taking the stuff, the salt or something like that, taking it outside and throwing it over a shoulder or something. I don't remember.
You take a cup of water outside.
That's what it was.
Throw it over to the east, to the
correct
sun, and you don't look back, and you just go back inside your house.
Not a problem after that. Done.
And it's kind of like that also comes from whenever you would go see like a root worker or a root doctor, and they would give you a spiritual bath. You would bathe in this humongous metal washing tub, and you would take this washing tub and then you would throw out, not over your shoulder, but you would throw out this entire washing tub of the spiritual bath towards the rising sun. And that's sort of where that comes from, because we can't take our bathtubs out of the house, because a lot of this stuff was done before plumbing was a thing. So
Zeke, I know this is going to seem like a silly question, but I think a lot of people are probably thinking this. Mm-hmm. If you're not a full believer in the powers of magic, mm-hmm. will it still work for you? If you have a problem and you say, oh, well, I'll try this, but maybe you're not fully immersed into the idea, will it still work for you?
I believe it will. If you just have a crystal clear intention, you don't have to believe in it for it to work. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's how you get your foot in the door.
Right.
You don't have to be like, because that's the thing about magic, is it doesn't require blind faith. Because blind faith would be just accepting things as they're happening, and doing magic is actually trying to do something about it.
Right. And where do a lot of these spells come from? Are there new spells, or are these all just old ancient spells that have been around for many, many years?
You can follow a tradition in spells, but you can also just follow your intuition as well. You can design your own spells. Mm-hmm. Just as long as you have the crystal clear intention and follow spirit and what it wants you to use. That's why you see a lot of magical practitioners will have like what's called a book of shadows, where they write down a lot of their spells. Hold on, I actually have like I have like stacks of composition books that have a lot of my recipes and stuff like that in it.
Wow.
For stuff that I've written and stuff that I've picked up through the years from other magical workers that have mentored me and stuff. I say,
wow.
So like Hocus Pocus, where she sings out book and the book floats up and the eye opens up and stuff like that. It's just like that.
Just yes. like that.
It's except none of my books have ever flipped themselves.
Oh.
To be rest assured, I don't have a book made of human skin.
I was just going to say that.
No,
leave that to Ed Gein up in Plainfield, Wisconsin.
Yeah. Ugh.
At least I wouldn't tell you if I had a book made of human skin.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you for that. Thanks.
I've got one more question, and then I'm going to kind of open the floor up to you, Zeke, to say anything further you want to say about magic. But my question is this, because my belief system when it comes to religion and spirituality and all that is very mixed.
Mhm.
Like I mix them together like I'm making a goulash or something. So part of me still has, because I was brought up with Christianity, part of me still has that in my being. Part of me has Wicca. Not that I've fully practiced it, but there are bits and pieces of it that make sense for me. Obviously, the spirituality of manifesting and all that is very important to me. I look at manifesting a lot like prayer. It kind of works together, blah, blah, blah. For people who are strictly, Christian, or they're strictly this or that, especially those who are Christian, may have a fear of magic because we're taught for so long in that religion that everything is bad.
Mm-hmm.
It's evil, it's the devil. What can you say to them to kind of ease their fears if they run into this stuff?
I think something to sort of ease their fears, I would say, is if you want to try it, then try it. If you're scared of it, then don't do it, because then you're going to treat it kind of like it's like you're going to. If you think it's going to hurt you, it's going to hurt you. If you think it's going to help you, then it's going to help you. The reason that most people are scared of magic is because we're taught to be scared of personal responsibility, because a fear of magic comes from an inherent fear of being responsible for your own actions.
Mm-hmm.
It's like whenever I give readings for people, is we summon what we serenade. And so you if you think it's going to work out bad, guess what? It's going to work out bad. If you think it's going to work out good and you follow your intuition and you get past that fear, it's going to turn out good. You just have to be knowledgeable on what you're doing and trust the process.
Right.
Don't be like conjuring like goetic demons to get stuff for you, because that's, unless you know how to. The goetic magic is very, 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 very ceremonial magic, and it's there's certain things you have to do to be able to deal with this entity. So don't do that. Stick to simple magic if you need like a raise at work or something like that. You don't have to call a king or president of hell to come up and do that for you.
Yeah, I think I'll skip that one.
Right.
I don't need that one.
Yeah, I want to give you an opportunity to kind of sum up Magic 101 in your own terms.
Okay.
Not that you haven't already done a lot of that, but if there's something else that you want to pass along, I'd love to hear it.
To me, to put this with a nice, neat little bow on it, magic is, most importantly, is the power of your intention and the power of your will. And also, it really, really instills a sense of faith in yourself and your own abilities. Because every human on the planet has the ability to do magic. It's just a matter of becoming disciplined about doing it. So intention and discipline are two very, very important things in magic. Like keeping up with it, keep up with the vision, keep up with what you want. So what we can surmise is vision, intention, and discipline. How bad do you want it? And how is it going to affect the world around you? Like I keep on using money. If you need money, you have to be very specific about where you want this money to come from. Do you want to raise at work? Do you want to get like a mysterious check in the mail? Like the other day, I was doing some work for money and I got like a $300 check because somebody owed me a refund, and I just got it out of the blue. I said, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Not saying it's going to happen every time, but if you need it, magic always takes a path of least resistance. Either you're going to get opportunities for the desired outcome, or it's going to take a very out of left field approach. But it will happen with the power of crystal clear intention, discipline, and keeping up with the vision.
I love it. I think we could talk about magic all day.
We could. I'd love to
I know.
talk about magic all day.
Maybe not the goetic part. That was a little disturbing. I don't know if I want to summon anybody.
But if you read like a lot of the stuff, it's kind of beautiful because you use all these wonderful sigils, and it's very, 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 very witchy.
I'm actually now really interested in seeing some of these rituals. So I kind of want to look it up and see.
Grab your broomstick.
I know.
Grab your broomstick. Start riding it around a campfire.
Who says I have a broomstick? Who says I have a broomstick? Anyways.
Yeah, I've seen your house.
You're not funny. So anyways.
Thank you. Until we see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.